Australia. I've got two questions. Being a studio, how do you go, like what's happened with the market? We're 100% digital, but what's happening in the market about other exhibitors getting 35 mil? Is it being made in one country now? Is it being shipped in? Is that getting harder to, like where do you see the fallout of 35 mil? And maximising the efficiency, I'm getting sick of transferring hard drives between different cinemas. What's the next step? We can't do satellite in Australia, apparently it's too expensive, not enough screens. But where do you see it with internet and that type of thing? What's the experiences there?
I'll answer your first question, and I'll throw the satellite or other alternative delivery methods other than hard drives to the panel. You know, from the Sony perspective on film, I mean, you guys are mostly digital in Australia. I think you're in the 90% range, you know, or thereabout. And you know, we're happy to supply film as long as it makes economic sense. And as a studio, you know, from the Sony perspective, we're dependent on two things. We're dependent on there being a print laboratory who can strike the prints, and we're dependent upon there being film stock, both negative and positive. So, you know, so those are some challenges that I'm sure you're familiar with and have read about just overall in the marketplace with, you know, with contraction of the companies who manufacture film stock, as well as, you know, there's been, you know, some closure of some labs around the world. So I think if that trend continues and there's continued pressure on both those supply chain elements, it'll be more difficult for studios and distributors to provide film, which is again why, you know, we urge everyone to, you know, to try to move forward in digital as fast as they can and echo, you know, what David Hancock talked about in his presentation. With respect to the circuiting of hard drives, I understand that, you know, and I think there would be a more efficient way to do it. Can anybody on the panel, can you guys speak about models that you're looking at in Australia, and, you know, as far as either satellite or other forms of electronic or terrestrial models down there?
Yeah, we've looked at that, and as you point out, it's a very small market, but who, me? Oh, okay. You know, it is a smaller footprint market, and we've done some testing of electronic delivery. And I would say that, you know, with all the innovations that are going on, it's going to land to any one of us as a distributor fulfillment or somebody else, whoever is the most innovative. You know, this problem is going to be solved. And you know, far be it from me to say that I know how it's going to be solved at this point, but they will find a way, and I just don't know. Well, it's not too slow right now for the satellite he's talking about in Australia. It's just a matter of footprint and getting kind of a pan-Asian solution that makes it economical enough to do so. You know, with such a large landmass and you know, very spread out, satellite would be a great technological solution for Australia. You know, Canada is very much the same kind of market, but it gets the benefit of piggybacking off of the U.S. mainland. So it's going to require creative solutions and people who are innovative to solve this problem.
Well, one of your questions, I'm sorry, about whether the internet is too slow. Again, that's a function of, I think where that's going to get hung up, like in any market, is on the last mile connectivity into the theater, right? So if all you have in your theater is twisted copper pair versus fiber, I think that's where the rubber meets the road. So again, I'm not an expert on the sort of installed base of broadband or fiber in Australia, but that would be a question to look into: is what's the installed base and what's the level of you know, kind of broadband connectivity into the last mile, you know, and that's always the problem with any sort of having a circuit that is fast enough and has enough, you know, data capacity.